wonderful things that the committee has provided. And thank you for coming. Most especially, a distinguished guest for the hearing, but also a member of the National Planning Committee, who is herself very much involved in getting the information to the people in Washington, is someone you all know. And I'm introducing her today as Jean Young, member of the National Planning Committee for Who Speaks for the Children.
Thank you very much. I hate to say it's a pleasure to be here because I wish we did not have to gather for such an occasion. I wish that all of our children were well cared for and well nourished and had good, loving, caring homes and families that could afford to support them in a lifestyle that we would all want for our own children. But I'm glad that we have people like you who are working to create that day when our children will have all of the things that we want for them, all of the basic necessities of life and a few of the luxuries. I just this past week participated in the hearings in the northeastern section of our country up in Chicopee, Massachusetts, and it was very shocking to me, I think, because, you know, in the South, we always think that we really have most of the problems here in the South, particularly when we talk about poverty. And I just participated with Mr. Copeland in this very room just a short time ago, in which we had a homeless testimony on homeless, and we see something very positive when he was down in Chesapeake. It was in Savannah we were, but also we were here in Atlanta. And we were seeing something very positive coming out of the governor's office, and you know, that's really encouraging when you see movement after something like this happens. I hope that that's what's going to happen here, that we really see some movement after we listen to what is going on throughout the country and today throughout the region. Let me just share with you this proclamation, parts of it, from the mayor's office. The mayor, of course, is extremely supportive. We're pleased to have the media staff here this morning to record this, and it will probably also be shown over Channel 5, a cable channel here in the city. And also part of it can be made available to those of you who would like it. On January the 22nd, 1988, the City of Atlanta will observe Children in Poverty Awareness Day. The statistics on poor children in this country are staggering. 13 million children in the United States are poor, and nearly half of all black children are poor. This translates into a national catastrophe which threatens to undermine the stability of our entire future. We commend those gathered today who are taking the initiative to protect our young and underprivileged through organized citizen action, education, and early intervention. Such efforts will develop the leaders and our productive citizens of tomorrow. To that end, I encourage all Atlantans to play an active role in the fight against poverty, and I proclaim Friday, January the 22nd, 1988, in our city as Children in Poverty Awareness Day. Andrew Young, Mayor. In addition, I'd like to just to greet you very briefly, is our newest member of the Fulton County Commission, Nancy Boxell, Dr. Nancy Boxell, who serves over at Atlanta University in the School of Social Work and very active with the YWCA, but particularly in regard to children. She has worked so much, and we're delighted that she's now a part of our commission, and we hope that the message will get through to the entire Fulton County Commission about concerning the ongoing needs of our children. Dr. Boxell.
Good morning. Thank you. Good morning to the panel. On behalf of the Fulton County Board of Commissioners, I also would want to welcome you and to let you know that for a long time, as Jean has indicated, I've been working with many of you to lift the issue of children in poverty to a level or to an awareness level that public officials and policymakers could really participate in. Some of the research that I've done, I think, is reported and used by many of you in your work, and be glad to share it with others of you. All of that is to say that in my role as a member of the Fulton County Board of Commissioners, I want you to know that, in fact, children now have more than an advocate. Children, and particularly poor children, have a voice on that governmental body, and I hope that you'll use me in that way. Welcome, and I hope that today is very successful for you and very meaningful. Thank you.
At this moment, we're going to start with our first presenter, Ms. Annette Lucia, who is representing the Community Improvement Coalition of Monroe County, Forsyth, Georgia.
Hi. Y'all excuse me because I got a little silence this morning. I get a little hoarse.
Can you hear her? Can you hear her?
Okay. I am Annette Lucia, the Director of Community Improvement Coalition of Monroe County, Forsyth, Georgia, not Forsyth County. Okay, I'm indeed honored of being a participant to speak out for the children in poverty. Community Improvement Coalition of Monroe County, abbreviation CICMC, is a nonprofit grassroots organization working to improve the quality of life for low-income and moderate families, which includes the elderly and handicapped of our community. CICMC have a special interest in the low-income and moderate community because we feel that low-income people deserve a better way of life. The organization started in 1981 when we became tax-exempt under the 501c3. In 1981, a group of concerned people saw a desperate need to improve the quality of housing in the low-income moderate community. Together they worked, attending weekly meetings with the residents. Together they worked, attending different workshops to find out more information that could help solve the problem there. During that time, CICMC saw a desperate need to improve the children in poverty of Monroe County. I have some different projects that CICMC has been successful with in helping solving some of the problems there in Monroe County. CICMC has developed a project called, assists with a project, the Farmer Home Administration, the 504 project. The Farmer Home 504 program provides grants and loans to elderly, low-income people to get their home rehabilitated. These elderly people are on a fixed income and was not able to repair their home. And the home was such in a bad condition. If you were to see someone, you would really say no one lived there. In addition, the elderly people are caring for their grandchildren while their single child, low income, is working. CICM assists the elderly homeowners with the application and transported them back to the Farmer Home Administration for completion of the application. Over 25 elderly homeowners' application was approved to get their home repaired. The community, this is another additional project, the Community Development Block Grant Monitoring Project. The city of Forsyth has received 2 major grants to rehabilitate homes there in Forsyth. These homes are located in a low-income community. And also these families have small children, majority of them do. Over 75 homes in the low-income community home got repaired with the CDBG grant. CIC coordinated meeting with the mayor and the Planning Development Commission, along with the residents. We always include the people that are involved. Along they are learning themselves how to become repairs, help in some cases even repair their own homes with the contractors there. So this project really helps over 75 homes residents there additional project that helps the families and the children in Monroe County. It's called a Family Daycare Community-Based Network Project. CICMC become a sponsored organization with the local child care food program. Over 25 family daycare ladies have been licensed with the Department of Human Resources. These ladies are low-income homemakers. They have children of their own, and they are also caring for other low-income parents' children. So this project provides nutritious meals to low-income children. It provides the low-income poor homemakers a percentage they can earn to reimburse themselves back for the food that they are feeding the children. And it also generates administrative costs for the organization as becoming a sponsor organization. This is an additional project that we was doing research and we came across. It's called Save the Children program. And we become a sponsored organization with Save the Children Southern State Office here in Atlanta under Ms. Estelle Brock and Ms. Nancy Travis. Ms. Yvette Haynes came down and she talked to the board of directors, telling us how it would benefit the low-income children there in Monroe County. Naturally, we were very interested, so we become a sponsored organization of Save the Children. Now, this program provides clothes, educational books, and toys. Also, love gift checks for the birthday and at Christmas time. CICMC has signed up over 150 low-income children on that program. This is an additional grant that we will apply for because Monroe County have a desperate need of this in society, and it is called for food and shelter. We applied for a grant from Hands Across America Fund. In 1987, the grant was approved for food and shelter under Emergency Assistance Fund. This grant provides food and shelter for low-income families and individuals. Due to the fact many families are out of work in the winter months and can't afford their utility bill, in some cases they can't even pay the rental fee. And some other families have even got evicted out of their homes. Some have went to all three sources there in society trying to get help. And the last source was coming to CICMC. Fortunately, we had gotten the grant approved from Hands Across America. This grant provided food and shelter for over 75. This grant provided food for over 75 families there in Monroe County who didn't have any food or money for the family to live on. Over 25 individuals with food. Over 10 families with shelter and food. This grant was very successful. And being a director of community improvement, you see the hurt on the family faces with the children. Now about 3 minutes ago. With this fund that we have gotten from Hands Across America, this fund is very needed there in society, and we urge the government body and the parents who support this type of fund for low-income community groups to work with. That is still a desperate need for this food and shelter in Monroe County. In addition, we also applied for a grant from HUD called the 202 Project. We applied for a grant from HUD in 1985, which was approved to construct 25 new homes for the elderly and handicapped. This grant was also approved. The grant amount was for $714,800. In addition, I must close right now, but I urge the government bodies, the parents, and to all of us to keep supporting children in poverty throughout the United States. Through your caring and sharing, together, we can make a difference. Thank you.
Our next speaker then is Darlene Mosley, who is an MBA student at Spring Hill College in Mobile, Alabama, and she's also representing the Infant Care Center in Pritchett, Alabama.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you? Good. Again, my name is Darlene Mosley, and I'm very happy as well as delighted to be here to speak on such a tremendous cause. It gives me a great pleasure listening to all the things that have been said, I hear the great emphasis has been placed on the dilemma of our nation's most valuable future resource, our children, and the conditions in which many of them exist. It's true that many of our nation's children are economically disadvantaged and in poverty. However, if we examine this problem more closely, we'll find that many of these disadvantaged children are the products of disadvantaged mothers. Thus, I am led to believe that the only way to help a disadvantaged child is through helping the child's parents. The child is a product of his or her environment, and often found within this environment is an environment in which a mother exists with no skills, education, or training. Thus, the child will exist in an environment of disillusionment and poverty. I am convinced that the key to ending poverty for children is through ending it for their parents. Today, my presentation will focus on creating advantages for economically disadvantaged children by creating advantages for disadvantaged parents. There are several approaches that can be taken to address this problem. However, I will focus on teenage parenting. Teenage mothers, because an increasingly growing problem has been aroused from teenage parenting in America today. The increased number of economically disadvantaged children has been in turn to the increased number of teenage mothers. This has occurred mainly because young mothers often have no training and very few skills due to the fact that many are forced to end their education at a very early age. In the city of Pritchard, which is located in Mobile County, the teenage pregnancy problem is alarming. The Mobile County Human Resource Health Education Department reported that a total of 1,121 births occurred in 1986 that were of teenage mothers, which means that 1,121 children were born in poverty. We have attempted to address this problem by creating an InfraCare Center. The InfraCare Center is a new concept of education of children and young parents. Its main purpose is to ensure that both economically disadvantaged young parents between the ages of 16 and 21 and their children between the ages of 2 and 6 be educated to deal with their specialized developmental problems, and that new social doctrines and ideas of education are created to ensure and accomplish such developmental needs. The InfraCare Center will serve as a new type of cooperative education to be managed primarily by young parents and directed toward the special needs of interrelating parent and child development, in particular cultural and familial conditions. Stated simply, the InfraCare Center is a center or program in which young mothers will function within a program and not be economically dependent. The InfraCare Center will consist of two components, the mother and the child. Both will be trained to acquire skills necessary to function as an independent entity of society. And the only way that this can be accomplished is by creating a setting in which young parents and children can function without any federal assistance. This is the main focus of the InfraCare Center. The city of Pritchard is in the process of lobbying the state of Alabama to create the InfraCare Center as a national demonstration site for welfare reform. Thus, this will allow the parents to work within the InfraCare Center, acquiring skills and helping in the development of their children, as well as work as operators of the center itself. The staff would simply be the parents. Instead of receiving economic assistance, the participants will receive compensation in the form of wages. The parents will receive a salary for their work, like any other citizen working today. Thus, the parents will have pride in themselves as mothers and being able to provide for their children. They will not suffer from disillusionment of being economically dependent and having no control over their lives. Thus, the environment of their children will also change from one of poverty to one of work and struggle for a promising future of tomorrow. In closing, I say again, the InfraCare Center's main focus is to remove young teenage parents from any form of economic assistance, thus ending poverty for children by creating advantages for disadvantaged parents. Thank you.
babies in Gary, Indiana, and both of her legs at mid-calf have to be amputated. Well, she was 9 and her mother was 24, so you can figure how old she was when her mother had her. I mean, how old the mother was when she had the child. So certainly there is a need for infocare and some other programs that teach young people that do have babies how to parent as well as how to get some employment skills. And I'm finished with my editorial comments. This is going to be difficult. Okay, our next presenter is Ms. Laura Bush, because Sandy, has your presentation come in by the wire? No. Okay. Our next presenter then is Ms. Laura Bush, who is the director of the Women's Project out of Hilton Head, South Carolina.
Good morning. Good morning. I have a prepared statement that I will share with the panel, and I'll just summarize the statement. Let me preface my remarks by sharing with you a story. The young woman who was to attend with me today could not because of death in the family. But her story, I'm sure she would have shared, is one of despair and frustration. She's a young single mother, single not because of death of a spouse or divorce, but single because of what Mr. Copeland, I think Mr. Copeland said. A husband who became unemployed, who became despondent and left home. A young mother who was trained to do a job, went to the job and tried to work, but because of not having the adequate funds for child care, and because she had to leave home so early in the morning, 5:30, to go to an 8:30 job, because she had to travel 70 miles one way to that job, because she was stuck in an area on the job 70 miles from home, if an emergency erupted, how would she get back to her household? She decided to leave her job, to go back on the welfare rolls, to be with her children, to be closer to home. The Institute for Community Education and Training, of which I am here today sharing with you, was started in 1981 by a young woman who was a teenage mother. She left home at a very early age. She got married at a very early age. She's now in New York City directing a community-based organization. We got started because the children in our community needed additional educational resources. We started with an after-school studies program. Because of the fact that we live, Hilton Head Island, to most of you, conjures up images of sandy beaches and condominiums and luxurious hotels. That's fine and that's true, but it's not all fun in the sun. There are folks on that island who are in poverty. There's a separation of the south end being the, quote, rich section and the northern end being the, quote, native poor population. So when you have a chance to go to Hilton Head, be mindful of that, okay, because most folks don't know that. The children in our school system, because of their heritage, their culture, because the educational institution has not taken time to study their culture and their heritage, are locked into a situation where they will not speak out in class because of their dialect, the Gullah dialect. They are told they are speaking incorrect English. So children tend not to speak. Many of them are lumped into handicap classes or slow learning classes. We work with those children in our school program. The mothers of those children, because they themselves went through the same type of system, a system that did not take time to learn about the culture, to look at why women are in the situation they're in, they themselves tend to go on the welfare rolls and feel very comfortable. Number one, when you're on the welfare rolls, you're getting Medicaid, so you have insurance coverage for your children. If you're working in the resort industries in our low country, in the coastal areas, many of them do not provide benefits. So it's more comfortable, it's more feasible, it's more economically feasible to stay on the welfare rolls. Let me share with you some recommendations we have in regards to after-school studies program for children and for women. We feel that in order to lift our children out of poverty, you have to look at the entire family, not just the children themselves. We recommend for the women an organized outreach program to identify adults for whom inadequate education pose a barrier to employment. We recommend continued effort to develop public and private partnerships for the creation of employment opportunities for the underemployed and the unemployed women. We propose efforts toward non-traditional job training. I think we have enough beauticians. I think we have enough secretaries. I think we have enough homemakers. We need women to get involved in other types of jobs, non-traditional jobs. We recommend changes in the Welfare Reform Act. So if a woman wants to move off the welfare roll, give her at least 1 year of that continued support with insurance benefits. Work with her, allowing her to become stable before you just cut her off the rolls. But work towards self-sufficiency of these mothers. We recommend child care, affordable child care for children. Many of our child care centers do not take into account that women are still making minimum wage, that most of them opt to stay home because they cannot afford child care. We recommend after-school programs. We ask that all of our school systems make their facilities available in the evenings. Our churches become involved in that and provide technical assistance for us to take care of those children for parents' schoolwork. And we definitely recommend a change in the minimum wage. There is no way. No way a woman can care for her family and herself at $3.35, even $4 an hour. Long hours, women who take all kinds of mess on the job because they have nothing else to do. We also support and recommend additional funds for support services, transportation, child care, and what we offer in our Women's Project is a support network where women can share. We have a leadership development program where women come together and just expound on what their problems are and what solutions someone else used that may help them. That needs to go on throughout the state. Let me summarize. South Carolina children are in jeopardy. Some children will manage to overcome the aforementioned obstacles and lead happy, fulfilling lives. However, we know that many more of these at-risk children will not even survive beyond childhood. Others will survive but will never be able to lead healthy, productive, and independent lives as adults. Others will experience more than their fair share of loneliness, sadness, frustration, failure, anger, and limited career options. Some of these children will face life with resignation and despair and a lack of personal well-being. We must continue to implement programs that will enable our children to live, to learn, and to grow so they can become productive citizens and contributors to their own future and that of their families and their states. Thank you.